Well, there is a massive outflow of the Congress party in Goa. Out of the 11 MLAs which the Congress party has, 8 of them have switched sides, and now this new grouping is saying that they will merge with the BJP. And in that group, there is a former chief minister in Digambar Kamath, there is Michael Lobo, the leader of the opposition, and since more than 2/3 of the legislature party, which is 8 out of 11, have defected, it will not bring in provisions of the anti-defection law. And this is happening at a time, ladies and gentlemen, when Rahul Gandhi is in the midst of his Bharat Jodo Abhiyan. Forget about Bharat and Bharat Jodo. Rahul Gandhi can't seem to be even Jodifying his own party, at least certainly not in Goa, where a bulk of his legislature party has now quit en masse and joined the other side. So where's the question of Bharat Jodo before he can do party Jodo?
While Rahul Gandhi is busy walking across the length and breadth of the country for his Bharat Jodo Yatra, his party is crumbling with each passing day. The latest crisis comes from Goa. 8 Congress MLAs, including former Goa Chief Minister Digambar Kamath, who led the party's campaign in the assembly elections earlier this year, and leader of opposition Michael Lobo, ditched the party to join the BJP. Congress is now left with just 3 MLAs in a house of 40.
Today the situation is, the way Prime Minister is taking India forward, the way Prime Minister is creating a name for the country abroad, and the way the country is moving forward, he wants to create a new this for the country.
The mass defection is a 2019 redux for Goa Congress. 10 out of 15 MLAs had defected to the BJP then. Congress made its candidates take a loyalty vow in front of Rahul Gandhi.
देशाच्या माननीय पंतप्रधान नरेंद्र मोदीजी हांचे विजन जे आसा नव भारत निर्माण करप आणि गोयच्या विकासा खातीर ते म्हणजे सरकारात ते आयल्या तांच्यांनी सपोर्ट केला हांव तांचे सगळ्यांचे स्वागत करता.
In July this year, the party managed to stave off another defection bid and kept at least 7 MLAs. But clearly, it didn't last for long.
काँग्रेस पार्टी जे म्हणटा की आम्ही भारत जोडो यात्रा जी तेंच्यांनी चालू केल्ली आहा कन्याकुमारी टील काश्मीर म्हणून ती आम्ही हिंगासर आयज गोंयान सुरवात केल्ली आहा की काँग्रेस छोडो आणि भारतीय जनता पार्टी को जोड़ो.
जिस प्रकार से बयान उनके आ रहे हैं, उनके दल के अंदर बहुत से एक भय जैसा एक समा चुका है, जिसके कारण वो आज इस प्रकार की कदम उठा रहे हैं गोवा में, या कोशिश भी कर रहे होंगे कहीं और की, क्योंकि आज उनको लोगों का ध्यान भटकाना है.
The Congress has been without a permanent party president since 2019. It has been losing ground in state after state, election after election. There is an exodus of senior party leaders as well as young dynamic faces, and not to mention infighting in state units. Yet, the party is focusing all its energy on a 3,570 kilometers long Padyatra. So are Congress's priorities simply misplaced?
All right, let me go across to our guests who are joining us. Niti Jain is spokesperson of the BJP. Ashpreet Singh Kadyal is spokesperson of the Congress Party. Savio Rodriguez is founder and editor-in-chief of Goa Chronicles. Rashid Kidwai, author, also joining us. Ashpreet, let me start with you. I mean, Rahul Gandhi is on this Bharat Jodo Abhiyan, this yatra from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. But unfortunately, everybody is leaving the Congress. It's Congress Chhodo or Bharat Jodo. Which is more important for the Congress party? Because clearly, even in a small state like Goa, you don't seem to be able to keep your flock together.
Right. Jacob, kindly allow me an uninterrupted minute. Number one, see, the people who are celebrating this, the people who are getting happy about this, should just realize one thing. They're not targeting the Congress party, a certain party. They're targeting the people. We are, or anyone who's elected, is a representative of the people. And when they do something of the sort, they are not just undermining a party, they are undermining people's mandate, they are undermining the law of the land, they are undermining the constitution. And if this is a precedent that is to be followed, imagine what will it do to India? What will it do to the world's largest democracy? So instead
No,
of
Ashpreet, you can stand on the rooftops and cry foul and cry hoarse about it. Fact is, 8 out of 11, it's not 1 or 2. Two-thirds of your legislature party has dumped you and joined the BJP. It includes a former chief minister who's been with your party for the last 40 years. It includes a leader of the legislature party in the House, Michael Lobo, who's again been with your party for a number of years. If you can't hold on to these people, veterans, then what is the question of Bharat Jodo?
see, I asked for an uninterrupted minute. Please do not interrupt me before I was anyway going to come to this. So number one, as far as Bharat Jodo is concerned, the BJP is baffled. They are basically concerned and worried. Why is it resonating with everybody in India? The Bharat that we had Todoed is being Jodoed by the Congress party. Therefore, out of being baffled and out of being nervous and concerned, they are doing these kind of things. They have basically they have expedited the whole process. But let me tell you one thing: it does not matter. What matters is that through Bharat Jodo Yatra, we are trying to make sure that inflation that has been begotten by the BJP, unemployment that has been begotten by the BJP, poverty that has been begotten by the BJP is done away with, because these are the concerns. This might be the expertise of the BJP to do these kind of things.
Ashpreet, you should have a party to fight for this. If your party is leaving you lock, stock and barrel, who are you going to fight with? Anyway, let me go to Niti Jain. You know, in January of this year, just before the elections, Niti, the Congress party took all of its 36 election candidates, first to the Mahalakshmi temple in Panaji and then the Holy Cross shrine in Babolim, and made them swear in the name of God, in the presence of Rahul Gandhi, that they will not switch sides. So all that is gone. So in politics, anything is possible. I mean, कल तो हम कांग्रेस के साथ थे, आज हम बीजेपी के साथ हैं, कल दोबारा कांग्रेस में आ जाएंगे. So there's no question of any principles, any morality, any thin line, nothing. Whoever has satta, go with the satta.
Zakka, the point is that the gentleman from Assam was speaking on a previous show on your television, and he said we have put in years and years of our lives and we are not being even recognized for what we do. The gentleman who was speaking before me, sir, it is not my job to cure your party's delusions. But the point is, nobody is scared of you. I think your own MLAs are proving that to you. You can say as much Bharat Jodo, when your party is not in order. I don't know what Bharat Jodo you're talking about. You should focus on Congress ko sahi rakho, Congress ko jode rakho, and that needs to be your focus. You can take as many oaths as you want, but if you're not going to respect the people who are working on ground, see, the point is these MLAs need to go every 5 years and tell the people what was the work that has been done. What is it that was happening on the ground? And if your leadership is not taking care of what is happening, you can do as much Bharat Jodo Yatra as it is not going to reflect anything on the ground. Who is scared of you? Nobody is scared of you. The point is that the people are completely disillusioned with whatever you are saying because there is nothing to show on the ground. Even your central leadership will come and talk about everything.
And this is the second time.
What has Rahul Gandhi done?
This is the second time that this is happening to the Congress party, as Savio Rodriguez will vouch, because even in 2017, after the election result at that time, I think 10 out of the 15 MLAs that the Congress had, they jumped ship en masse, joined the BJP. They were in alliance at that time with the MGP. Again, 2 of their MLAs jumped ship. So once bitten, twice shy, you'd imagine, but not quite the case in the Congress party, Savio.
Well, actually, that happened in 2019, Zakka. The movement of 10 Congress MLAs and 2 from the MGP, that happened in 2019. Now, primarily, what is the problem that really drives them? Now, it's not that Congress does not have a following in Goa. In fact, Congress has a considerable amount of voter base as far as Goa is concerned. But what they lack is a very effective and firm leadership. And that is what they felt is the reason why even in the last time, 10 of them moved and joined the BJP. And even now, because they believe that by being a part of the BJP, at least their constituencies get developed, people are happy, and therefore they decided to work on the development plan. The problem with the Congress is they have a voter base in Goa, but they don't have a leadership to lead that voter base towards the next couple of elections that will happen in Goa. Okay. And that's a really serious problem for the Congress. And what will happen in Goa is that parties like the Aam Aadmi Party, parties like the Revolutionary Goans, and parties like the Goa Forward Party will eat into the space of the Congress primarily because they lack leadership. That's all. The problem is that every one of them is a leader in its own right. Whether that leader moves to the BJP or whether that leader stays in the Congress, they eventually win. Digambar Kamath was a former BJP finance minister when Manohar Parrikar was around.
Yeah.
Michael Lobo was a former minister in the BJP. They moved to the Congress for reasons best known to them at that point of time, and have realized that they've got nothing to gain in the Congress and therefore decided to come into the BJP. The others that joined, the other 6 that joined, Zakka, are people who are very strong Congress loyalists. Like Rodolfo Fernandez, for example. His mother was one of the most prominent Congress leaders in Goa. And today, her son moving into the BJP should be a wake-up lesson to the Congress that, hey, listen, maybe you're doing something wrong. Maybe what Rahul Gandhi is doing in Goa is not right.
So what is it, Rashid? What is it that, and I think Savio has hit the nail on the head, what the Congress basically is doing is it's vacating its space, the principal opposition space, to parties like the Aam Aadmi Party. They've already done that in Punjab, to some extent maybe in Goa as well. Or they're simply vacating space, lock, stock and barrel to the BJP, because nobody who is part of the Congress also sees any great future in that party, even if he or she has been elected as MP or MLA. I mean, look at the laundry list of leaders who've left in the last 6 months, from Kapil Sibal to Ghulam Nabi Azad. And if you go back a couple of years, there's Jyotiraditya Scindia, Jitin Prasada. All of them have left for what? Because they don't see any future in the Congress party.
Zakka, it is indeed true that Congress is going through a very difficult patch. There is a leadership crisis not only at the national level but in several states. Goa in particular is a kind of paradise for habitual offenders, as my friend was just now saying. These are all, whether Digambar Kamath or Lobos of Goa, they've been changing, political parties whenever there is an opportunity. And ironically, you see, whatever numbers Congress get, a lot of people leave when it fails to form a government, and then next election is held and the Congress comes close to or retains that kind of position. This is the story of Goa. Now, in order to beat the BJP, the Congress has to get not only 2/3 but 3/4 majority. Because if you have whatever numbers, the BJP will win. BJP will win over those MLAs once it forms the government. So it is not a reason to gloat over it. It is not a reason to link it with Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra.
I think you're missing the point, Rashid. The point is, once again. In this instance, in 2022, after it lost the elections, you can say, okay, they had only 10 or 11 MLAs. But even in the last time around, where they had more seats than the BJP, they didn't move fast enough. Now you can't blame the BJP for that.
You can't say fast enough.
All I'm saying is a simple thing. While Rahul Gandhi is well within his right to go ahead, take a Bharat Jodo, he feels the country is divided, BJP is dividing the country. That's fine. That as an opposition leader, that's his right to do that. But here's the problem. He is completely blinded by what he thinks is right for this country or what is wrong in this country and needs to be set right, that he's not able to look within. There are far bigger problems within. He needs to fix that first. That's the problem, Rashid. He's missing the big picture.
Zakka, that is your point of view. What I'm saying is, when Digambar Kamath left, nobody accused Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee or LK Advani of lacking leadership qualities. Or Lobo left, nobody accused Mr. Narendra Modi for that. So I am saying that this is a point of view. You can go on criticizing Rahul Gandhi, I have no problem with it. But I am saying linking defection, anti-defection with with leadership
how come Rashid, the defections always seem to be a one-way street? It's always from Congress to BJP. I've not heard of a single instance, whether it's in Madhya Pradesh or in Goa or in Manipur or in Uttarakhand or anywhere, where people from the BJP are leaving to join the Congress. It's always a one-way street. It's always going from Congress to BJP. But anyway, let Arshpreet respond to that. Arshpreet, I think here is a classic case of misplaced priorities, because like I said, Rahul Gandhi is well within his right to Bharat Jodo, take a yatra, go from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. But please set your house in order first. That's the most important thing. You throw stones at other people's glass houses, provided you don't have one.
So basically, we have misplaced priorities according to you. We should rather place our, interest, our time, our energy into basically toppling governments, undermining people's mandate, making
So
sure
you
that
need
the
to have a
elections don't
government to
stand for
topple
anything,
governments, na?
that the law doesn't stand
तो
for
कहीं
anything.
पर इतनी सीटें तो लेकर
Kindly hear me
आइए.
out. You've already spoken. Kindly hear me out. I know that the BJP doesn't understand what hearing is, but please try to. Number two, see, congratulations to the BJP. They have done a great job at undermining the constitution. Keep going ahead with that. For us, there are bigger issues at concern. And number two, the people who have joined the BJP, do you think their allegiance is with the BJP party? Their allegiance is probably with power. Their allegiance is probably with something that they were afraid of. Everybody knows that the ED's conviction rate is less than 0.1, 0.3%.
Sir, this
And number
is
two, there
becoming
is
a
not one
tactic
BJP
for
leader. There is
Ashpreet,
not
one second.
one
Ashpreet, one second.
ED
Ashpreet,
leader.
Ashpreet, one second. Can I ask a simple question? No, all of this is fine. All of this is fine. No, 1 second. Ashpreet, hear me out. 10 seconds. All of this is fine. ED fear, CBI fear. I haven't heard, by the way, any of these 8 who defected today. None of them have mentioned a word about ED, but be that as it may. All I am asking is, what was the last big state that the Congress party won? Please give me one. In the last 5 years.
See,
because if you're not winning states, if you're not a match for the BJP electorally, then you can't blame these people for leaving your party and going to BJP. I mean, why should you blame them? They don't see any prospects in your party. They don't see any future in your party.
See, now it is no coincidence. Let me make 3 points to you. It is no coincidence that there is not one BJP leader who has a single ED case pending. Number two, double standards of the BJP are clearly visible.
Sir, the ED cases do not work politically. You need to stop blaming the administration.
Niti, 1 second. I'll give you time to respond to him. Let him finish though, please. Niti, I'll give you time. Let him respond. Let him finish. Yeah.
Bhai, this is not Lok Sabha.
Yeah.
Ashpreet
Finish. Ashpreet, finish. Yeah.
See, all I'm saying is it speaks volumes about the double standards of the BJP. They say परिवारवाद से हमें दिक्कत है. We have a problem with families. Then why did they induct Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia in the first place? Why did they induct other leaders who have a lot to do with family one, parivarwad? Does this not speak of the double standards of the BJP? The BJP can only blow hot and cold at the same time, undermine institutions, undermine the law of the land, undermine the constitution. This does not call for praise. This does not call for appreciation.
Sir, you can sit here and give the BJP a moral science lecture, which is all fine. But the point is, politics अगर करना है तो politics करना है. Moral science छोड़ दीजिए आप. Anyway, Niti, please respond. You are in the business of toppling governments by fear of ED, IT, CBI, etc. That's what the Congress is saying, चाहे वो मध्य प्रदेश में हो या गोवा में हो. Please respond, Niti.
Zakka, you need to understand that in Goa we already had a government. We had a sitting chief minister there. There was no need for us to go and topple anything. It is their MLAs that want to jump ship because they have to show something after 5 years to their constituents. And that is the point. We did not have to go topple anything because we were already in power there. The point is that this gentleman is refusing to understand. You can talk about all kinds of organizations and everything, sir. The ED cases or any of the investigations don't work politically. Anybody who has a case, that is going on and the law is taking its own course. There was no ED, there was no nothing with these 8 MLAs. They have said nothing of that sort.
One at a time, Ashpreet, please. Ashpreet, she did not interrupt when you spoke. Please allow her that basic courtesy. Thank you. Yeah.
भारत जोड़ो MLAs की दिक्कत आपके पास सुनने का समय नहीं है. That is your problem, sir.
Okay. Savio, the point is that ultimately, the Congress can go on and on till kingdom come about how the ED is being misused and CBI is being misused and IT is being misused. Fact of the matter is, whether it is in Goa or in Maharashtra or in Madhya Pradesh or any number of states, where the Congress party may have had a decent chance in alliance perhaps, it is losing that ground to the BJP or it's losing ground to other opposition parties. Today the reality is congressmen and congresswomen themselves do not see a future for this party. That's why they are leaving.
Well, let me leave our Congress friends with a thought. Now, the person who was instrumental in the first movement of MLAs, the 10 MLAs in 2019, was Michael Lobo himself. Okay. Now, Michael Lobo then goes to the BJP, goes to the Congress. And Michael Lobo is also instrumental in the 8 of the Congress MLAs coming into the BJP now. Politics is about strategy at the end of the day. For all the Congress would have thought when they took Michael Lobo inside, was Michael Lobo could have easily been the Trojan horse, but they never saw that in the first place. Right? So the problem with the Congress is they're so hung up in what they consider to be right that they have no idea what's happening around them and on the ground. So you have leaders, especially in Goa, you have leaders that come, and this has happened time and again in numerous interactions I've had with them. All they talk about is them understanding Goa, but they don't understand Goa at all. And that is a problem that you're seeing of Congress all around. The Congress in Goa, I'm saying again, there is an immense voter base that is competitive to the BJP.
Yeah.
But they don't have leadership. And if they don't have leadership, that Congress voter base is going to split. As long as the Congress voter base splits, BJP continues to remain in power. Today, BJP is 33.
Okay, Rashid, I'll give the final word to Rashid, because ultimately, will accountability be fixed for this? And if at all, whose accountability? I mean, is it Rahul Gandhi's fault? Is it Mr. P. Chidambaram's fault? He was the election observer in charge of the state. Is it Mr. Dinesh Gundu Rao's fault? He's the General Secretary in charge of Goa. Or is it, I mean, you can't fault Digambar Kamath and Michael Lobo because they're no longer with the Congress party. So, somewhere accountability needs to be fixed for this.
Absolutely, and accountability, it should be a collective accountability. It's a accountability state level, at general secretary level, and of course at the highest level with the Gandhi's doorstep. There is no denying of the fact. But Zakka, what I'm saying is these defections are very disturbing, and disturbing from voters' point of view. Voters seem to be, they have no problems in re-electing them, whichever political parties they represent or come back. Now, this is not how, it's a mockery of that anti-defection law. Whoever
No, but Rashid, that's a moral science lecture. If the voters don't care about moral science lecture, then who are you and I to sit here and preach? Voters don't care. They're okay with it. Same Michael Lobo can go to a third party, he'll still get elected. Rashid.
That is what I'm saying. That's a disturbing part. That is a disturbing part because that's not how, parliamentary democracy is designed.
Are you going to tell that to the people, my friend?
Sir, if the people of Goa don't have a problem with it, who are you and I to judge?
Well, Jacob,
this is what you are saying.
When somebody is considered for a job, their CV is looked at. When the people would look at the BJP's CV would talk about Goa, would talk about Karnataka, would talk about Maharashtra, would talk about Assam.
Sir, the people of these respective states do not have a problem with the CV of the BJP. Then why are we all stuck in this moral science lecture? Sir, if the people of these respective states don't have a problem with what they are being offered, then I don't know what your problem is or mine. All right, I'm going to wrap up at that because I'm getting a piece of breaking news. I need to go to that right now. Thank you very much to all our guests. This is coming from Delhi, where the former Delhi Minister Satyendar Jain, he was questioned by the ED. In fact, he's going to be questioned by the ED in the liquor scam. Remember, he was, of course, arrested in connection with shell companies, another scam. But this one, in the liquor gate scam, the court has now given permission to the Enforcement Directorate to quiz Satyendar Jain, who's already in jail for allegedly floating shell companies and using the money obtained thereof back into the party and for party funds. But now, Satyendar Jain, who at that time was the health minister, did not have any role as far as excise was concerned. He will now be questioned by the Enforcement Directorate after a court has granted permission that Satyendar Jain be brought in for questioning in the liquor scam. So what is the role, Ashish Maharshi, of Satyendar Jain? Because he was not purportedly handling any portfolio connected with the excise policy. So why should he be questioned?
Zakka, my sources in the Enforcement Directorate tell me that, during the searches, they found certain details where they could, that is why it became mandatory for them to question Satyendar Jain. Now, what is the role, whether he was one of the conduits in the excise scam or not, that is something that is being investigated, or it will be too early to comment. But my sources say that there is certainly some evidence in their hand that they have found, due to which it has become important for them to question Satyendar Jain. Now, we all know that Satyendar Jain is in judicial custody. He's in Tihar jail as of now. His bail has been rejected by the courts. But here, the Enforcement Directorate recently approached the court, and the court has granted them permissions, or a different team of the Enforcement Directorate, which has got nothing to do with the case in which he is inside the Tihar jail. That team is going to go and question. We shortly going to get the date. What is the date on which Satyendar Jain is going to be questioned? But certainly it's a big step by the Enforcement Directorate, where Satyendar Jain, who is supposed to be the health minister of Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi, he is going to be questioned by the Enforcement Directorate. What role does he have, or why he's being questioned? That is something we will get details a little later.
All right, Ashish, thank you very much for that. Let's also get another piece of breaking news, again connected with a high-profile crime, as it were. Bollywood actor Jacqueline Fernandez, remember, she's been questioned since this morning. It's been going on since about 11:30 this morning. She's been questioned by the Delhi Police's Economic Offences Wing over her alleged involvement in the 200 crore cheating scandal. And now the Economic Offences Wing wants more time for questioning. She's only likely to be released around 7:30 to 8 o'clock later this evening. So the questioning is going to go on till then. Let me go across to Siddhant, who's tracking that story from outside the EOW office of the Delhi Police. So what exactly is it, Siddhant, that the police are trying to ascertain from Jacqueline Fernandez in terms of her role in this multi-crore scam?
Well, look, Zakka, many are confused because they think that Enforcement Directorate has already concluded the investigation. What is the point of calling Jacqueline Fernandez now by EOW wing of Delhi Police? But the fact here is, Zakka, that these two were the different investigations. The investigation of Enforcement Directorate was related to the money laundering, the money which was laundered, the money which was extorted by Sukesh Chandrasekhar and then laundered in the form of gifts, loans which were given to Jacqueline Fernandez and many others. Now, this particular investigation, the FIR which was lodged by Delhi Police almost a year back, talks about the bribery which was given by Sukesh Chandrasekhar to the jail officials. Almost 82 officials have been named in the FIR. Also, there are various details, evidence which are available before the agency. In fact, evidence also suggests that Pinky Irani used to take women inside the Tihar jail for Sukesh Chandrasekhar. So these are these evidences are available in form of material to corroborate and also to ask questions related to this. Jacqueline Fernandez has been summoned. Also, mainly questions are going to rely upon the charge sheet which has been filed by Enforcement Directorate. As the ED charge sheet says, Zakka, that for the lure of money, Jacqueline Fernandez deliberately ignored the criminal antecedent of Sukesh Chandrasekhar. Also, we have been told that since morning, Pinky Irani and Jacqueline Fernandez have been confronted by EOW teams, and there's a high possibility that EOW is again going to summon Jacqueline Fernandez tomorrow. She again has to come to EOW office at Mandir Marg Police Station.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Thanks very much. That's Siddhant reporting for us from outside the Economic Offences Wing of the Delhi Police, who's questioning Jacqueline Fernandez. That's likely to go on well into the night hours. That's a wrap. In a moment, Anusha joining you with the biggest exclusive.